Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at how good the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, and Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegeta are at 100% in the hidden potential system and also max link level. Now, to be honest with you guys, I think personally, all things considered, I think these guys got a really rough time upon release, and I do think they are not as bad as people make them out to be with all the memes and that, but I do understand why people were disappointed. So they are a Battle of Fates, Future Saga, and Empower Beyond Super Saiyans lead, with an additional 30% for characters who belong to Realm of the Gods or Time Travelers. They also give 150% to all super class. I think overall the leader skill is still a great ability, and I think it's something that really keeps him quite relevant and helpful. Beyond that as well, of course, they are also raising attack on 12 key and raising defense on 18 key. They have an entrance animation which gives plus 100% to guard, plus 100% to defense, and gives them guard for 4 turns. When there's another Future Saga category ally on the team, which isn't too hard to do for them. They have key plus 3 and attack and defense of 100%. They get an additional key plus 2 per type key sphere obtained, and an additional attack and defense of 50%. Attacks effective against all type against Realm of the Gods enemies. They get an additional defense of 150% with a high chance of evasion as the first attacker in the turn, and they have an additional 100% attack and defense of 50% and launch an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super as the second or third attacker in the turn. They launch a guaranteed additional super attack when key is 20 or more. They can perform a special fusion when HP is 70% or less starting from the 5th turn, when there is another Future Saga category ally attacking in the same turn starting from the 7th turn. I think overall, for me, these guys are a very solid unit in base. Obviously they have some damage issues, especially if you're not facing a especially if you're not facing a like Realm of the Gods category character. But I still think overall they aren't bad. They do still do a lot of really useful stuff. So I think for me, they're still solid in base, if not relatively reliable. Now, of course, beyond that as well, they have their transformation state. Once transformed, they are Vegeta, and Vegeta is very good. Vegeta greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, causes colossal damage to enemy, and lowers their attack and defense on his 12 key. He also raises allies' defense by 50% for 1 turn, and greatly raises his attack and defense on his 18 key. Vegeta himself, I don't really have any issues with. Attack and defense of 250%, plus 5 key, additional 2 key per key sphere obtained. He has attacks effective against all types. Reduces damage received by 20% before attacking, 30% before attacking. Base damage reduction of 20%, with a high chance of evading the enemy's attack, and a guaranteed additional super attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack as the first attacker in the turn. Launches an additional super attack and a medium chance of launching another one if he is the second or third attacker in the turn. And then on top of that, he launches a guaranteed additional attack when key is 20 or more. All in all, very interesting units. Now, I will say one thing: in base form against Realm of the Gods enemies, the attack of the base blue units is not that bad, especially obviously at Rainbow with max link levels. With support you're looking at the 8 million to 9 million threshold, which realistically is not bad per se, and I think isn't like a deal breaker, at least to me. I think it's not bad. Obviously, and people would have liked them to be better for sure, but I think for me it's not anything, strictly speaking, too terrible, at least overall. Of course, I think, when you compare them to like modern units like Broly and that, or now the current units, I should say modern units, but I think obviously then they don't look so great. But for me personally, obviously, considering their function and their evasion and everything else, I think personally it's not like a bad. I don't think it's that bad. I think the thing is when you put them in first slot, and obviously then you make them face non-Realm of the Gods category characters, it does drop a lot. It pushes to like all the way down to like 5 million, which is not great. Like, it doesn't look great for an LR that's rainbow and max link levels to hit like 5 million attack stats. It's just not really the way you want things to appear. So that's clearly a problem for them, and it's definitely something that I think shows up a lot for a lot of people, and a lot of people kind of like use that as a stick to kind of beat them with, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's underrated, but I think they are a unit that definitely has a bad side. It definitely has a not too great looking situation. Now of course when they transform, they lose all of their conditional stuff, so they become very, very good then. The attack stats are very solid. We're looking at 11-12 million, and you gotta remember they have the easy ability to do up to 4 or 5 attacks in a turn, and if you use their active, they can do up to like I think 7 super attacks in a turn, which is pretty nuts. Not to mention obviously they boost the allies by quite a bit, so they boost their allies defense by a lot, which I think is something very, very important. So that's obviously super duper helpful. But I think overall I honestly would have to say that, like, for me they definitely they're good. Like, I think they're solid. I think their damage is really great in the Vegeta form, but it definitely feels that by like today's standards, you'd probably say the Vegeta form would be like the base expectation, considering like how units are coming out nowadays. Whereas I think like the Vegeta form on its own, definitely I would consider an incredibly good unit even by today's standards, with the defense raising, the decent attack stats, the multiple supers, the solid defense on his own, the active skill, the evasion, the boosting of allies defense. Like, definitely Vegeta is a really, really good unit. We're talking about like an incredibly strong unit, but I think like Vegeta is 100% a usable unit, whereas I think like if I look at like the blue boys, they're definitely usable, but you have to be careful about them still. Even at a rainbow level, I think you have to be a little bit careful about them, but I still think they're good. I mean, I still use them a lot. I think people overrate or oversell how bad they are as units. I think a lot of people just got on this train of really hating on them, and although they do have their issues, to say they're not usable I think is a bit opaque. If you have them obviously at like a rainbow level like I do, they very clearly are usable. They very much so are great units to use and to have. So yeah, I definitely, I don't have any issues with them, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I think for me they're still an exceptional unit. Are they up to today's standards? I think Vegeta is. I think if you look at like Vegeta's whole kit, and you look at what he brings, you look at what he does, you look at like how many attacks he can do, you look at his active skill turn, I think he's up there. I just think, like, I'm not saying he's top 5 or anything, but I think he's up there. It's really good. I think leader skill is really good. I think it's just, in the base form, it's about the stacking, it's about the placement, it's about where the attacks come in, and from there you can kind of make things work more so than anything else. But yeah, that's basically it from me. Realistically, not too much else more to mention. But I'd have to say, yeah, honestly, solid unit. Link skills are a bit varied. Obviously, when you have a unit that changes transformation, you have to be wary of how that affects them. You know, how do they function? How do they mix with units that, you know, obviously share with them good links before transformation. Your best bet is to just kind of either build for the transform state, which I think you should, because that's the state you want to use the most. So you either build for the transformer state of Vegeta, or you use, you know, units like the, you use units like Gogeta, who, you know, are decent for both states and transform themselves. And so you end up with like a unit that's great for sharing with both forms of Vegeta. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. Let me know what you think about them. And yeah, let me know if you think they're solid still. How do you think the reception was about them on initiation? I, for one, am glad that I have them, and I'm, you know, happy to still use them. So yeah, but I think that's pretty much it from me. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. It's always greatly appreciated. And I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye.